So I have a bit of a hypothetical. I've been thinking about Gojo for quite a bit in regards to Jujutsu Kaisen, the Culling games, him being sealed away and him potentially being unsealed within the future, and what that will actually give birth to. With this knowledge, we don't have all too long with Kaizen. The story itself is what I would consider past the halfway point and kind of tailoring towards the ending. We still have probably at least 2 years remaining, if not more, but we do have some sort of a timeline. For me at the moment, the Culling Games is going to be a very massive arc, but it's also going to bleed and give birth to the final arc, or at least the pre-stages of the final arc. And because of the events of the Culling Games, what that actually creates, the issues that it brings forward, and the kind of evolution of different characters, where we stand after it is going to be very interesting, especially when you put Gojo into that picture. You see, Gojo is a very enjoyable character. He's a very powerful one, and he's written to be a very specific type of way, someone that never realistically loses nor can be kind of matched up evenly with people. The one time that we've actually seen him fight seriously wasn't within his prime. His abilities at the time were nowhere near what they are now, yet that doesn't devalue that fight. Him versing Toji is quite an incredible feat, and it gave us a really good understanding of where Gojo sits as a person, a side of him that we rarely see, a very monstrous side. The thing is, we haven't seen that monstrous side within the current timeline. Him being sealed away, I assume, is going to flare up that personality once again, flare up that anger to absolutely destroy everything, and he has threatened or pushed that motion quite a bit throughout the story. Quite literally at the beginning, he threatened to kill all of the higher ups because realistically no one could stop him. But once again, when we see the early structure of the Culling Games, how far characters are being pushed and what could happen within it, how that bleeds and tailors into the finale of the story, characters are going to be very powerful. Maybe not necessarily near Gojo, but enough to fight on semi-equal footing. And the one character that obviously comes to mind, who is the primary big bad villain at the moment, is Kenjaku. And if Kenjaku manages to pull off what he's trying to do, he's going to transcend into a being that we have not witnessed before. You add on top of that Sukuna being reborn back into the world, you have Yuta, who is only going to get more powerful, Hakari with how prominent he technically is, as well as Maki's evolution and the reappearance of Toji in any capacity or any sort of way, because Akutami loves using that character through and through. You have a lot of powerful people that are rather close to Gojo's level, that is building up into a very climatic final fight. Who would Gojo fight specifically? I'm not entirely sure. You could say Sukuna, you could say Toji again, you could say Kenjaku. What I think a lot of people are confident in sitting within, however, is the emotion that he will have if and when he is unsealed. At the moment, that is the primary focus, that is the goal, to unseal him, because he will change the course of this entire situation, and that is what the Culling Games is specifically for. So while they're going after Megami's sister, while Kenjaku is trying to transcend into something else entirely, the prospect of unsealing Gojo is within grasp as well. All of these incredible individuals are coming out to play and trying to push themselves even further. So of course, we've got to have that balance of whether or not Gojo is going to come out and play. The monstrous mindset that we've seen him with in regards to Toji in that fight many years ago is something that I easily believe will be reflected within the now, that we haven't necessarily seen yet. One with his current power, with his current mindset, and just the utmost anger that he has for being sealed away to begin with. You've seen how calm and confident he was when he went into that prison realm. He believed in his students. He believed in the people that he taught and trained. Yet when push comes to shove, he most likely will come out, and he will most definitely obliterate quite literally everyone that has wronged his students, that has wronged the people that he cares about, in a way that not only are we anticipating, but also extremely excited for. When you kind of lay it out all like that, it's kind of scary what type of character Gojo will be when he's unsealed. It's very rare that anyone can even rival him. So to see him get serious, to see him potentially obliterate the higher ups, which is something that's always lingering in the back of his mind, especially with the actions they have taken in regards to pushing Gojo out of the sorcery world, in regards to putting a hit on Yuji. Everything is kind of lining setting up perfectly for him to tick off all of those boxes when he returns in the most horrific and brutal way possible. The political / quote-unquote government-esque attitude that the higher-ups have to controlling every sort of situation is completely undermined by the fact that Gojo can stop them whenever he wants. So of course, when he's indisposed or out of the picture, they move more rapidly. They rely on very drastic and harsh decision-making to propel forward in a way that they see fit. They want this universal agreement. The problem is that Gojo is a pillar for the sorcery world. Pushing him out of it or executing people that are trying to unseal him does not bode well in the grand scheme of their government-esque attitude. They are actively going against him. When you add in the families that also dabble within that political power but sit on their own terms, you have a very perfectly balanced situation that teeters on the line of if Gojo is alive or not, and if he's on the higher up side or not. Because of everything they've done, when he comes out, they will most likely be the first people he goes after. If there is no other prevalent or massive threat in front of him, the higher ups will be destroyed, and there's quite literally no one that could stop him. I like to think that Maki's situation in regards to the Zenin family is a perfect example of it. Someone that has been brought up to Toji's level to a portional degree and has quite effectively rippled through the Zenin family through and through. She has dethroned them, brought them to their knees, and is going to rebuild it potentially in whatever shape or way she sees fit. And it might not even be from her, it might be through Megumi, it might be through someone else, but that family is no longer capable. It took one person to do that. So even if there was any sort of resistance from any of the families, regardless of what abilities or powers they had, the minds that he's going to be in when he comes out is brutal, to say the least. It's going to be bloodthirsty. He's going to be upset for not only being sealed away and letting all of these things happen, but the actions that all of these people have taken while he's gone. For me, this bleeds into the ending of the story, and you kind of divvy up those three options of fights that I mentioned prior: Toji, Sukuna, or Kenjaku. I think the most obvious answer currently would be Kenjaku, if he obviously manages to transcend. And just to tie it off very nicely, you have Sukuna that is of equal power to him. So when you think about the final fights and what that could entail, it is very massive. It is catastrophic. It is portionally world-breaking. Characters that are way too powerful, because there is not a big enough battlefield that gives Gojo the comfortability to fight on equal footing. But what's to say that he'll truly care at this point? Because of how much he's been dethroned, because of him potentially wiping out the higher up and him dismantling the sorcery structure, the political / government side for it, why would he really care? Especially when you have such a big battlefield currently with the Culling Games. If this is where the final arc is going to take place because it's the most barren, the most wastelandy, it would make a lot of sense. And these very powerful individuals could fight rather freely. There's also the anomaly that is Kenjaku and the Tengen merge. We don't know what that gives birth to. We don't know how that conflicts with the barriers that encapsulate Japan. If Tengen gets removed or absorbed out of the picture, do those barriers become null and void? Do characters become weaker, or is this a step in a completely different evolutionary process? Do they become more powerful? Do they become unfiltered or untapped potential? Do curses quickly evolve and run rampant? Do you see how this hypothetical can be spun in so many different ways, but kind of hinges on the idea of Gojo being unsealed or not? I think he definitely will be, and in due time. I think the process of unsealing him isn't going to be an easy one, that's for sure, even though Tengen does have a backdoor to access him, but all of it is currently rotating around him. The final thing that's great about it, and one that I personally love when it comes to Akutami and how he handles his story, is that he's very unpredictable. He will do things for the sake of just doing things. Maybe he personally enjoys this, maybe he's sick of writing that. And from what it seems, Akutami isn't the biggest fan of Gojo's character because of how much attention and focus and love and affection that character has gained to such a worldly amount. I wouldn't even be surprised if that is the reason why he sealed Gojo away, is because he was sick of all the attention attention that was being focused onto him. Of course, Akutami can't control the reception and the love that people have for that character, but it doesn't help when you make him so iconic and individualistic where he towers over absolutely everyone. If you have a character that can't be rivaled, he's already put on a pedestal high above everyone else. So that comes in the form of a curveball. If Akutami doesn't want Gojo to return, if Akutami wants to kill Gojo off, keep him sealed away, as weird as that may seem and how counterproductive it may feel, everything in your brain may be saying no, like there's no way he would keep Gojo sealed away. There's actually quite a high chance that he would. Out of spite, out of humor, comedy, whatever Akutami is feeling towards Gojo, he could quite literally contradict how the story would theoretically go, what would make the most sense. At the moment, we haven't seen anything of it, and he's playing it very smart with keeping Gojo under the wraps, very low key, trickling only the very barest and simplest of information without any context or detail. To end this off, I'll say this. Gojo being unsealed is a completely different monster, something that we have not seen before. I'm curious, nervous, and ever more excited to see what Akutami does with his character. How does it function within the Culling Games? How does the Culling Games bleed into the finale of the story? And if he is unsealed, what characters are going to rival him, and to what extent? Is it going to be easy, or is it going to be quite a massive, catastrophic battle, like something we have never seen before? That very same monstrous personality we've seen from his Toji fight coming back within the present and taking it out on all the people that have wronged him and all the powerful people that currently stand in his way. All we have to do now is be as patient as we can and know that in every way, shape or form, Akutami will deliver in due time. So with that being said, that is basically it. Let me know how you feel about Gojo and him being unsealed. There's a lot of different ways that it can go. And do you think he's going to be a whole new monster that we haven't experienced before? I'd love to hear your thoughts. But I want to thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And drink plenty of water. New video every 3 days. And I will see you within the next one. Goodbye.